Change 40 centimetres into millimetres. Well, looking at our ruler, we know that 1 centimetre equals 10 millimetres. Hence, when converting from centimetres into millimetres, we simply multiply by 10. Here we've got 40 centimetres into millimetres. Hence, I'm going to do 40 multiplied by 10. And 40 times 10 will give us 400 millimetres. Simplify E plus E plus E plus E. Well, simplify means to collect like terms. They're all like terms as they all end in E. So I've got 4 lots of E, which I simply write as 4E. On the grid, reflect the shaded triangle in the mirror line. Well, any vertices that are on the mirror line will stay on the mirror line. We know this vertex is 1, 2, 3 squares to the right of the mirror line. So once it's reflected, now we'll end up 3 squares to the left of the mirror line. We can now join up our vertices using a sharp pencil and a ruler. Write down the value of the 6 in a number 16,007. Well, we can see our 6 is in our thousands column, hence it's 6,000. Write these numbers in order of size. Start with the smallest number. As we've got a fraction, decimal and percentage, and I convert all of them, in this case, to a decimal, well, I know a half is 0.5 as a decimal. This is a very decimal, 0.55. And 45%, we know percent is out of 100. We're converting a percentage into a decimal. I just move a decimal in 2 places. I divide by 100, which will give us 0.45. Hence, the smallest number, in this case, is 0.45, which is our 45%. Our next smallest is our 0.5, which is our half. And finally, our next smallest is 0.55. The pictogram gives information about the number of hours of sunshine on a Saturday and on a Sunday. Work out the number of hours of sunshine on a Saturday. Looking at the key, we know 1 full sun represents 2 hours of sunshine. As we're only interested on Saturday, therefore we've got 2, 2, 2 and 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8. Simon buys some candles. Each candle costs £2. Simon pays with a £20 note and he gets £6 change. Work out the number of candles that Simon buys. Well, as he pays with a £20 note and he gets £6 change, I'm going to work out how much he actually spent. So 20, subtract the change he got, which is 6. And 20 subtract 6 gives us 14. So he spent £14 and we know each candle costs £2 each. So I'm going to divide how much he spent, 14, by the price of each candle. So 14 divided by 2 gives us 7. Hence he bought 7 candles. The bar chart shows information about the total rainfall each month for 4 months in a city. In May, the total rainfall was 35 centimetres. In June, the total rainfall was 20 centimetres. Use this information to complete the bar chart. So for May, we want 35 centimetres. So for May, we're going to find 35 on our scale, mark it, and draw a bar. Likewise, for June, the total rainfall was 20 centimetres. So for June, find 20, mark it, and we're going to draw a bar. Rupert says in February, there was 15.5 centimetres of rainfall because the bar is half a square above 15. Explain why Rupert is incorrect. So looking at our bar for February, look where it stops. If we go across, it's between 15 and 20. Well, midway between 15 and 20 is actually 17.5. So Rupert is incorrect because the rainfall is actually 17.5 centimetres. Here is a sequence of patterns made from grey square tiles. On the grid below, draw pattern number 5. We can see that each pattern adds an extra square to the right and an extra square below. Hence, for pattern number 5, I'm going to have 5 along and 5 down. Complete the table, where I can see for each pattern, the number of squares increases by 2 each time. Hence, 7 add 2 will give us 9. And 9 add 2 will give us 11. In Norway last year, the lowest temperature was negative 15 degrees Celsius. In Norway last year, the highest temperature was 42 degrees Celsius, greater than the lowest temperature. We're asked to work out the highest temperature in Norway last year. As the highest temperature was 42 degrees Celsius greater means we add it on. So the lowest temperature was negative 15 degrees Celsius. Adding on our 42. Well, we know the sign is always preceding the term. So negative 15 add 42, that's the same as having 42 subtract 15. Always starting on our right. I can't subtract 5 from 2, so I borrow from its neighbour. So 4 drops to 3 and carry the 1. 12 subtract 5 gives us 7. And 3 subtract 1 gives us 2. At the end of October, Fiona's electricity meter reads 88,738 kilowatt hour. At the end of November, her electricity meter reads 89,198 kilowatt hour. Each kilowatt hour of electricity Fiona uses costs 16p. Work out how much Fiona had to pay for the electricity she used in November. Well, our first step is to work out a difference. Hence, I'm going to do the November reading, in this case 89,198, and I'm going to subtract the October reading, in this case 88,738, always starting on our right. 8 subtract 8 gives us 0. 9 subtract 3 gives us 6. I can't take 7 from 6, so I borrow from its neighbour. So 9 drops to 8, and I carry the 1. 11 subtract 7 gives us 4. 8 subtract 8 will give us 0, and 8 subtract 8 will give us 0. We know each kilowatt hour of electricity costs Fiona 16p. And as she used 460, I'm going to do 460 multiplied by 16. On a non-calculate paper, starting on our right, our ones column, while 6 times 0 gives us 0. 6 times 6 gives us 36, so 6 down, carry the 3. 6 times 4 is 24, add the 3 I carry gives us 27. Now I'm looking at my tens column, so I must put a placeholder down, so 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 6 gives us 6, and 1 times 4 gives us 4. Now adding up my two rows, 0 and 0 gives us 0. 6 add 0 gives us 6. 7 add 6 gives us 13, so 3 down, carry the 1. 2 and 4 gives us 6, and the 1 I carry gives us 7. So that's 7,360, and that's in pence. Or, if we're converting that into pounds, we know 100 pence is in a pound, hence we can divide by 100, i.e. move the decimal in 2 places. So moving in 2 places, that would come out to be £73 and 60 pence. To add fractions, we must have a common denominator. The lowest common multiple, the first number that appears in the 12 and 6 times table, in this case is 12. So I'm going to change each denominator to be out of 12. Looking at the first fraction, what do I times 12 to get to 12? Well, I didn't change it, so I don't change the top number either, so leave that as 5 over 12. Looking at my second fraction on the bottom, what have I times 6 by to get to 12? Well, I've times it by 2. Hence, must do the same to the top, the numerator, to keep it equivalent. And I know 1 times 2 will give us 2. Now I've got the same denominator of 12. I keep that the same, and just simply add the numerators. Add the top numbers. In this case, 5, add 2, gives us 7. To multiply fractions, I just multiply the tops and multiply the bottom separately. On the top, 3 times 5 gives us 15. And the bottom, 10 times 8 gives us 80. It said, give my answer as a fraction in its simplest form. If the numbers end in a 5 and a 0, therefore I know they're both divisible by 5. So I'm going to divide top and bottom by 5. 15 divided by 5 on the top gives us, simplifies to 3. And the bottom, 80 divided by 5, will simplify to give us 16. There are 15 sweets in the jar. 4 of the sweets are red. Jill takes at random a sweet from the jar. Work out the probability that the sweet is red. Well, the way probability works, it's the number of successes on the top. Well, how many sweets are red? In this case, 4. And it's always divided by the total. In this case, there's 15 sweets in the jar, so it's 4 over 15. There are only green counters and blue counters in the bag. A counter is taken at random from the bag. The probability the counter is green is 0.3. Find the probability the counter is blue. Well, as there's only green and blue counters in the bag, if the probability of getting green is 0.3, therefore the probability of getting blue, therefore be 1, subtract the chance of getting green, i.e. 1 subtract 0.3, which gives us 0.7. Because we know the probability of a single event always adds up to 1. Y equals 6x minus 5. Work out the value of y when x equals 4. All I'm going to do is substitute every time I see x, the number 4, into my equation. So leaving y alone on the left-hand side. Well, 6x in algebra means 6 multiplied by the value of x. In this case, x is 4. So I'm going to have 6 times 4. And I still have the minus 5. So 6 times 4 gives us 24. And 24 subtract 5 gives us 19.